Hi everyone, welcome to the weekly review of my M1 Finance dividend portfolio. Balance on the account is $229,284.90. Let's go ahead and look at the performance for the past week. I think we can all guess what it was. Red. So the portfolio is down almost $6,000 at $5,732.88 or 2.45%. The S&P 500, which is one of the holdings that I have, or VU, was down 2.25% or $3,560.46. SCHD was also down significantly at 2.88% or $2,087.67. And then QQQM continues to plummet. It was down 2.48% or $84.75. There was a rally on Friday, and I'll show you what that looked like. On Friday, March 4th, the stock market had a decent day, but even with these big jumps in terms of gains for that single day, it has performed so horribly the past week and actually since the beginning of the year that even with that, I still had massive losses. So if we just even take a peek at the year to date, so from January to now, how it's performed, as you see here, I am down 4.33% in VU, the S&P 500, or $6,000. QQQM, it's so painful to say this, but I'm down 6.16% because tech has just been suffering. And the majority of the holding in QQQM is tech, it's very tech heavy. So that's been down significantly, or $218.98. The only one that's green so far for the year is SCHD. Year to date is up 1.7% or $814.17. So again, stock market has just not been doing good. So this is where I am. So let's go ahead and look at the deposits that I made for the past week. So even with these deposits, as you see, I'm down almost $6,000. So on March 10th, I put in $300 and it all went to VU and I got 0.57 shares. And then on March 13th, I put in $1,400 and that's the deposit. And it all went to VU and I got 2.75 shares. So for the past week, I've put in $1,700. So even with putting in $1,700, I'm still down $6,000 for the past week. It's an absolute joke. All right, let's look at the recap. We started the week off at $233,317.78. Last week video, maybe if you've watched that, I did put a really big deposit in of $18,000. So that's what brought up the portfolio balance to 233, not because of the stock market. And as you see here, I put in $1,700 and still had that $6,000 loss. All right, let's look at the funding tab. So this is how much I've put in so far for the year of 2025. So since January of this year until now, I've put in $28,000, but still down thousands upon thousands of dollars because of the market crash. And then if we just look at the holdings, I am barely in the green at 7.9% or $16,779.76. Honestly, would not be surprised if next week this is just completely in the red because of how the market is performing. Let's look at the holdings. You see S&P essentially has just completely wiped out all the gains. I'm barely up at 6.58%. I think you can get better interest rates in a high yield savings account. Okay, maybe I'm over exaggerating a little bit there, but it's getting close to that. I think the high yield savings account or a little over 4%. So at this point, I could just put the money in cash in a high yield savings account and probably have more of it by the end of the year versus leaving it in the stock market. So again, barely up at 6.58% or $9,607.84. Now, keep in mind why I'm talking like this, right? Like, this is a really big balance for the gain on it to only be $9,000. Now, if I only had $20,000 in the S&P 500, fine. Like, 9,000, right, that's fair. But when you have six figures, as you see here, it's $155,000 and only have a 9% gain. Yes, that's pretty pathetic. And then SCHD, let's see. She's up 11.56% or $7,289.10. That's not a horrible return for SCHD, actually. So I'm somewhat happy with her. I would love for this number to be, of course, significantly higher, but I think she's doing okay given this horrible stock market environment. And then QQQM continues to disappoint. She is down 3.4% or $117.18. Again, I'm teeing her up to get sold this year, but let's see. I'm going to hold on to it for at least the next couple months, at least through the end of summer. So let me just see how she performs through August, and I'm going to reassess at that point. But again, she's showing me what she's made of. She's in the red. I don't know. So again, very disappointed with this overall return given the size of the portfolio. As you see here, my cost basis, which is the money that I have put in, is $212,505.14. I think anyone who has a portfolio of this size would be expecting to have way more gains than $16,000. Again, there are folks who have $40,000 portfolios who have better gains than this. So it's feeling a bit pointless in terms of why am I investing? I'm not making any real money that's actually going to help me, but I haven't found anything else that's better to do with the money. So instead of putting it in a high yield savings account, I guess for now I'll keep on investing and seeing what happens. I have definitely pulled back in terms of how much money I've been putting in the portfolio, and I have been stocking more cash for sure. So that's made me feel a little bit better. So because of that, I now have $10,000 in my emergency fund. I literally had, I think, $1,800 in my emergency fund at the beginning of March, and now it's $10,000, just to kind of put it in perspective in terms of just the significant amount of cash I'm putting to the side. Not necessarily to the side, it's for my emergency fund, but it was meant to go into the portfolio, but just with how much money I'm losing, just no way I'm going to throw all of that money in there. But I still, again, last week I put in 18,000. So I am still investing very aggressively. I am still putting a lot of money in the portfolio with the $28,000. We're just in March, like we're literally mid-March, and I've already put in 28,000. So I am putting a lot of money into it, but definitely not as much as I could have put into it. So we'll see how it performs over the next couple weeks, next couple months. But right now, very much disappointed in the return on this portfolio, just given the substantial size of it. All right, that is the update for this week. Let me know how your portfolio did. Maybe some of you all have invested in some of these ETFs from years ago. So even though it's down significantly, you're still up 30, 40, 50%, which is amazing. So let me know how that's going for you. And I'll catch you next week. Bye.